Hi, I'm Beth Mund.
I'm Berit Stover.
Welcome to Conscious Conversations on the Sacred Letters channel. Berit and I are here to talk with you today about a sacred letter that came through back in 2017, and it was titled Moving Forward. But the majority of the letter spoke about taking a time out, and we thought this would be a wonderful opportunity since most of us are taking a time out being quarantined in our homes. And it's a challenge for a lot of us. It's difficult, it's boring, we've lost our connection in person with people. Many of us are not working our jobs. And we thought that this letter would be a great opportunity to talk about the positives and what can come out of taking time out and how it's can move us to a place where unlimited possibilities are happening, joy, and we can live beyond a place of fear. So Barrett, do you want to talk a little bit about some specifics from the letter?
Yes, you're so right, Beth. I think it's the time for us to um, go within, to have that quiet time, sort of self-imposed quiet time that we usually don't have the luxury of in our world today when everything's so busy and we have so many different responsibilities. But to have that time to go within and to open us to intuitions and hearing of all that can be possible, and also kind of doing almost like a cleaning a house within ourselves of things that we need to release that no longer fit. So it's interesting. I'm going to read a piece of the letter that came through that Beth, you were mentioning, that was channeled through automatic writing in a sacred letter of 2017. And the spirit who channeled it says, "Take your time out to discard what is no longer working. Holding on to old beliefs it's like eating stale bread. Our whole planet is moving from 3D world to a 5D perception. You are no exception. But in order to not become stuck, you must throw out the stale bread and trust there will be freshly baked loaf of bread waiting for you to sink your teeth into. You do not have to make the bread, although so many of us think that we have to do it all, the mixing, the kneading, the baking. No, you just have to be willing to allow God to do the preparing and for you to keep your eyes open for the new freshly baked bread waiting for your enjoyment." So I think it really speaks to allowing this time to really be a gift for us, to each of us to go within and to open ourselves up to something that new possibilities, things that we envision, a world that we envision, um, to not go back, as they're saying, to eat yesterday's stale bread, to meaning, don't focus on yesterday, focus on the now, focus on right here,
And also to do something different, right? To not
to
not go
to
back to
bring
the old
forward
ways.
something different, right?
Yeah.
Because when we go back to yesterday's news or what happened in the past and so forth, we just seem to be kind of doing reruns. And when we allow ourselves to envision something that is new or is possible or that can be, it allows it to become a reality. It allows it to be. It reminds me of something that Wayne Dyer, that great writer, would say. He would say, you first have to believe it to see it. So when we allow something to be, it allows us to become more aware of it. It's like when we read something in a book or a newspaper, all of a sudden it seems like we are much more aware of that thing in our daily life, coming across it and hearing references to it and so forth.
Well, I find that that's challenging for me, but it comes with faith and trust, and we all have to have that in this time out, right? We don't know how long it's going to last. We don't know, um, day to day what's happening. Many of us with our jobs and our financial situation, and yet he speaks to in the letter how much we need this time out, and it seems as if we have always been a world that's overworked, um, overrun, that we don't take time to honor relaxation. We take vacations, but it's just as important to play and to take that time out as it is to work. And here we are being forced, and we could do this kicking and screaming, or we could think about how we could do things differently. And I think that for me, when he was talking about don't take yesterday's stale bread, I think that I remember reading, they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And that speaks to me about, uh, um, now we have time to figure out how to do things differently. Maybe our communication wasn't working exactly as it could have with a loved one, or maybe our job really wasn't the right job for us, or maybe we've always wanted to do some writing or painting or something. We have an incredible opportunity. And if we could get past the fact that we're all forced to do this, and um, and that it's a little difficult sometimes to be by yourself when we're not used to it and we're used to running, I do think over time we will begin to benefit from it.
And I think the benefit that you're speaking to comes from, what are we hearing? What is our intuition telling us? When we go into that quiet space, it's not just quieting ourselves, because that's really the first step, but it's listening to ourselves, listening to what is coming through.
Mm-hmm.
And I think also to putting out our highest, what is the highest good that we want to see? There's so much suffering right now. There's so much sadness. There's so much uncertainty. Our hearts are breaking for people that we don't even know who are experiencing the coronavirus, or other issues that are tragic in our world. And so how can we quiet ourselves and put out that love, to put out possibilities, to envision something and hold it with our thoughts and our consciousness, so that may lay the foundation for that to come forward? Because it's really quite extraordinary that, and we've heard this from people that we've spoken with on the other side who are seeing that expanded view. We're hearing that there is a much bigger plan out there. And when we go in faith and we go in trust, then things do unfold, and we really do start seeing once we are believing.
Yes, absolutely. And what does that look like in putting a plan in action? We get into this expanded view, and it's a wonderful place for creating, as we've seen the incredible memes and videos that have come out that are all making us laugh, which is a gift. But they had to put that into action, so here we are. They took a situation, they were forced into a timeout, and said, how can I create, and how can I make something beautiful out of this? So yes, you're absolutely right. Go into that space, receive that guidance, that intuition, that aha, that spark, and then just start doing it. Whether it's, like you said, sitting down and drawing or creating, or asking yourself, how can I do this differently? How can this be made better? We have a choice. Just like on the other side, we have a choice. We can spend our days worrying about how long will this last, and feeling all the fear, and not trusting in the higher plan, or we can go to that space to try and connect with something greater than ourselves that's inspiring.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, that inspiration can grow and create, and creating a new loaf of bread, like
Mm-hmm.
what it speaks to,
Mm-hmm.
not going back to the old patterns, maybe of fear and doubt, to sit in a place where we can create something new.
And I think you said, how does that look? I think there's two pieces that I see that when you quiet yourself is, one, it has for the ingredient, the compassion for yourself, to be gentle, non-judgmental, to know that you're loved, to know that you're worthy, and compassion for others. And then it also has to go to that place where fear cannot exist. There is no fear. So place yourself in that sacred space where there is no fear, because fear is what limits us. Fear is what keeps us stuck. And when we can go into that space, it allows as you said, that inspiration, that insight. We will always know how to respond. in how to respond to the issues of the day, to the wounds of our time. We'll know how to respond to the joys, and we'll know how to respond to the sorrows. And it really allows us to be present in the now, present in the moment, to know how are we to serve, how are we to respond in this situation, whether it's sending out our love, which is really powerful, that actually goes out into the energy of the world, because we are energy and we're also connected. So what we give out comes back. You know, what we bless blesses us, what we damn damns us back, right? But to go into that place and listen and feel, and we will be guided to what we are to do and how we are to work together. I mean, it's amazing how things come into our path when we allow that, which we've seen, how things step into our path that just are quite extraordinary, that allow us to move forward, that unstuck us, or move us from feeling stuck into the flow and the ebb and the grace. And it's through that faith, it's through that trust in that something is bigger, that we are never forsaken, that we are always held with great love and care, and to just rest in that awareness when we're weary and when we're frightened, and when we're in fear.
And I want to bring one final piece into that to add to what you're saying, and bring it back to the letter is, sometimes we don't have to do anything, and we're not meant to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I notice there's a lot of people who have all these lofty goals. And I know there's a lot of funny memes out there that's saying I've gained weight and I have all these goals, but I'm watching, 20 hours of Netflix. You know what? For some of us, that's exactly where we need to be. We need to be perhaps relaxing on the couch and doing nothing. So many of us do not know how to relax, including me. It took me a while to learn how to relax and to do nothing. I felt like I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing if I was doing nothing. But yet, from that place of total relaxation, connection that you're speaking of, where you can get to that beyond fear, we have to be able to connect with that, sometimes by doing nothing. And once we were in that space, something just came and went in my mind that was connected to this. But when we're in that space, that is where the intuition comes in. That is where the guidance comes in. That is where healing happens, whether we're healing a relationship or a physical ailment, or helping to heal our world. But we don't necessarily have to be doing something. And I believe that's what he spoke to in our letter, about the importance of taking the time out, because without these timeouts, we get burned out, we get burned down, and we don't have the energy and or the our bodies get tired, our disease can settle in. And these timeouts are so important. And that's what the gift that we're being given now, to take these timeouts, and so we can move from that into that 5D that he spoke about miraculously 3 years ago, and it's happening right now. Is there any final thing you want to add?
I just want to add that I think it's speaking to Beth, honoring our being, to just be. And when we are each ourselves, the truth of who we are, the essence of who we are, when we can just be ourselves, we are in alignment. We are in that sense of peace, of that harmony. And we are guided to do or not to do, really, what comes through us. But it's honoring each of us to be the truth of who we are. And I think also with that, it lifts our world. We are all lifted collectively together to that higher vision, to the angels among us, right? To our highest good, because we all have that within. And collectively together, when we are our truth, we lift our world to something that's new. And that's that new bread. That's that those possibilities that we envision can become. We can make that true.
Remember, yes. Just going to end with, there's a funny meme going around saying that you have an opportunity to change the world by doing nothing. And I think that we're not really doing nothing when we're being still, but it sort of feels that way. And I think we should all, as best as we can, do nothing and accept this incredible gift. It's not easy. It's messy. There's other feelings that we have about it that are challenging, grief and fear and all of that. But if we stay within the space of taking that time out for ourselves and for the world, then we all move to a higher place, like you said. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we welcome any questions and ideas you have for future videos. Thank you for those of you who have written in and with your questions, and we hope to answer all of them. And have a wonderful day and be well.